And I appreciate y'all come over and indulge me in that. But if there's any questions for reference to this or me or anything, I'd be glad to take it. Yes, ma'am? That's hit and miss. I'm not there yet. That's hit and miss. I mean, I've been in a number of museums, but museums are hard enough to crack. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, how many issues of ZAC comic book did you work on when you were working?
I started in ZAC 4. I think 16 is going to be coming out pretty quick. It's a slow labor of love. In its heyday, ZAC sold one or two of those copies for over 1 million copies. With the print run, a couple of print runs over 1 million. Now it's a thing of the past. Yes. Well, I use all paint. There's some acrylic. You saw a few acrylic pieces, but not many. Yes?
Did you use any models when you set up
I have used models, but rarely. Rarely. It's a slow process with the model. Every once in a while, I'll get the bind. Yes?
How is that, like, sexuality aspect played with? Is that influenced by anything?
Well, I think that reveals my personality. Well, no, the use of sexuality creates anxieties and energy, you know. These kind of paintings are not, well, people call these living room destroyers. You know, like Picasso said, I don't paint to decorate people's apartments. You know, the art should be important enough that the house is built around the painting. You know, I can understand a beautiful abstract expressionist painting lending itself into the well in the lobby of a bank or a hotel or something like that. But, man, I'd hate to be in the hospital and have to look up at one of these things. More? Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about your process? Do you do preparatory drawings?
I do a lot of drawings, a lot of drawings. This is a situation where I work 7 days a week, and there ain't no retirement in this business.
Do you hit a brick wall sometimes and stare at a blank canvas, or is it just always a constant flow of ideas?
Well, coming up with the ideas is a scene. It's a scene. I don't hit a brick wall, but I'm up against a brick wall all the time. I'm continually doing sketches that don't work, and I'll have notions, and then I'll go back months and years to what I've done before and see what does work and how can I combine these. The trick is to never do anything anyone else has ever done. So when you don't do anything anyone else has ever done, you're out there by yourself, and it's kind of nervous, you know, because you can't reference to anything. So I'm continually doing strange stuff that's kind of embarrassing to me, and I keep going through it and looking at the earlier stuff, and then I say, well, you know, that'd go good with this. That would make this make sense. So it's an odd process. Every once in a while, I'll just have like an idea. You know, that happens about every third, fourth week. I can just sit down and bam, have an idea. But usually, I have to really go in the forest of doubt, find something that's never been seen before. Yes.
The relationship of your sculpture to your painting. Is this a return or new territory?
Well, the reason I've got sculptures now and I didn't have them before is because I didn't have the money. I didn't have the financial backing, and I didn't have people that would underwrite me and help me on those. That's an expensive affair to do those sculptures. You know, and it's something I can't do in my backyard, and I've got very professional people that help me do that. I actually do the sculpting. You know. It takes labor. Yes, ma'am?
What artists do you look at for inspiration?
Well, the first artist I look at is comic book artists, because those are the only artists of my time frame, and your generation too, that draw. Drawing has been neglected for going on 60 years now. Yes?
No, you know, so you're not always working on one of your paintings. Do you ever just like...
You mean do I get emotional and sloppy? Well, you know, I'm dealing with these real shitty sketches to begin with, you know, so it's just a matter of hammering them into shape. Let me address one thing here, and Molly Barnes knows this well. After the Second World War, there was two art critics. One was named Clement Greenberg, and the other one was named Harold Rosenberg. And these are the gentlemen that were premier pushers of abstract expressionism. They were New York art critics. And these guys, to get abstract expressionism on the stage of American art and international art, inferred that really intelligent people didn't depend on three-dimensional representation, but truly intelligent people could appreciate two-dimensional art. Well, they're right, but what they're saying is only an idiot would depend on a realistic picture. Okay. So that caused a freeze in the late 40s. It come up through the 50s, and by the time I got to school in the 60s, it was an absolute regulation. Drawing was for commercial artists. So that's been turned around now. Yes.
The math behind who does the
I do a drawing of 3 different positions. And that goes through a chain of computers and redoing it, and then a model's made and it's redone and redone. You know, I just say computer and you go, oh yeah! No, it ain't like that. The computer's only the next step to have something to correct. See? Because when you do a little thing like that, and you make it 9 feet tall, you'll discover, well, the hands are 20% too small. The muscles are all wrong. Everything's screwed up. The thing has to be completely resculpted. It's not just, oh, we did it with a computer.
The sketches that are on the wall, you drew those?
I drew those sketches, yeah. Okay. I like representational art. I'm drawn to it. But I would hate to see the time come when all art become representational. That would be terrible. If that happened, if I woke up and discovered that all art had to be type representational art, I would go into LA and champion the old abstract expressionists and try to bring them back. It's a matter of, the problem is, there's only about 3 isms that seem to be functioning. There should be about 10 or 12 different kinds of art forms going at all time with equal power. Everyone has to fight for rooms and museums. Everything in the art world is a fight for real estate and museums. In other words, if I've got the social power to control a room in a museum, I can put a pedestal there, and I can put a little dog turd on there, and it's sanctified. That's sacrosanct. So no matter what you do, it's a fight, a continual fight, and that fight ought to be broken down into situations where there's all kinds of different art, not who just made the social steps to get to that position. Is there anything else?
There's less nudity and violence as opposed to some of the older work that you showed in your slideshow. Just wanted to know what your thoughts were. If that was a
Okay, let me make this statement. I'm a very sensitive coward, and I don't like violence. And when I see blood and I see viscera, I pass out. But let me put it like this. If I had a coffee table in a real fancy home, and I had some novels, like maybe Moby Dick, War and Peace, 2 years before the mast, or something, you know, you open that book up, and there's these horrible scenes of mayhem in there. Well, that's okay. You can close it back up, and it's in a book. But if I portray this on the wall, people shit their pants. I mean, if I portray violence, that don't mean I'm violent. That doesn't mean I'm encouraging violence. That is the pathos of life. You know, as long as we got canine teeth in our heads, we're part of the animal world. You know? That is a part of passion. You don't have to, you know, certainly I don't endorse crime and violence. Of course not. But that is a part of the human nature. Is that it? Okay, well, I'm going to...
Join us in the gallery.